You know it's true.
Hi, Hal Sparks.
Hi. This is such one of those weeks. This is just I'm are you finding yourself vacillating between completely outraged
Yes.
and hysterical laughter?
As I always say to you, yes, 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 Hal, yes,
Yes.
right there.
The
Yes.
overall madness of this guy of this guy's trying to convince people I did when you know he doesn't buy it sometimes.
Yeah. You soothe me on Twitter when you tweet back at him. He tweeted, "People are not going to stand for having this election stolen from them by a privately owned radical left company, Dominion, and many other reasons." And you just said if every vote you alleged was changed by Dominion, they weren't. You would still be losing the Electoral College and Biden beat you in the popular vote by more than Hillary. Sleep well, dummy. Okay, so
that's the part that digs at me. Okay, so I don't know if you know this, but the failures of the legal team in all the states has been particularly great.
Yeah.
But in Philadelphia, it's gotten rebuffed hilariously, repeatedly. And they now have boiled down to their final argument, which is there were, they originally, Rudy Giuliani's been selling this thing that 600,000 votes in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia shouldn't be counted. They are unlawful votes. Translation: black people.
Right.
But they're because no one from the Trump campaign was there to view them because there were Republicans and Democrats, of course, watching this. We know this because we're all adults.
Right.
But meanwhile, they have boiled down their final thing to, I think, something that involves like 6 or 8 votes in their primary, their real on the ground.
Right.
6 to 8 votes, which I have no doubt if they ask for the due diligence and they go through the process and they act out on those ballots, that it will end up with more Biden votes.
Yes, it will, and it already is in Philadelphia. As the absentee or the what do you call it? Provisional ballots are being counted. Biden's numbers only going up. So the NBC said judge rules against challengers in Detroit vote counting case, says those making the claims did not have a full understanding of the vote counting process and their interpretation of events is incorrect and not credible. And you just said, you're a bunch of morons illegally defining judgment.
Well, yeah.
I don't know of the legal term, but yes.
Yeah. There was a big GTFOOH ruling from that judge. Just get the out of here.
Right.
Okay. So the last bit is their final argument right now is some ballots that came in with signatures that weren't exact matches or stains on the envelope or any of that stuff were being should be thrown out, but the Philadelphia Electoral Board has volunteers and they cure ballots. They call people up and they go, "Hey, did you mean to vote this way?" And that person goes, "Yeah, that's me." And so that legal voter gets their lawful vote counted. Ballots are cured in every state. And their argument is that red counties are not curing their ballots. Therefore, it is an unequal application of the law. Well, if red counties cured their ballots, that would be more Biden ballots. They're not curing the ballots, so you don't count the Biden ballots. He'd be ahead by 100,000 easy right now if all the Pennsylvania counties all started calling up the voters who they had immediately excluded because it was a red district. Right.
So you commented on the MAGA million, which is MAGA MAGA few thousand march, I guess. But the headline was thousands of Trump supporters of all stripes, including right wing and far right groups. And you said we have both kinds of music, country and western.
Which is a Blues Brothers reference for anybody from the Chicagoland area. But saying right wing and far right, where are you going to find a wedge between Tucker Carlson and any of these people, really? When they get mad at him, when they do these strategically normal sounding things on his show so that he has some defense against the fact that his head writer was a white supremacist and the replacement will be too.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Other than that, I have no opinion.
Yeah. Here's what. Well, first of all, my first question then that popped to mind from that is which Hal Sparks choir are we going to hear from on this week's Sexy Liberal Virtual Tour, Thanksgiving edition.
Yes. This particular group is having a very difficult time with the Biden win. That's all I'm going to say. It's a little hard to be a believer right now.
Telling you, this is why you have to buy a ticket to Sexy Liberal, because not only can you watch on demand for a year, everybody I've talked to has to go back and rewatch the Hal Sparks musical things, because you have to focus on each different character singing, because you can't, the first time you see the whole band, but you're like, I need to focus on a different character next time.
Well, they're all people. They all have their own lives.
Yes.
And I in my research, and I am, judicious in my research, especially when it's something I have specifically avoided my entire life, like white quartet gospel. And, you know what I mean? Like, I grew up, a country Christian. I know all this stuff. I would just eek. But having to study it for doing a solid parody, I'm not going to, me, I'm not going to do it unless I do it for real.
You got to focus and go, okay, what's that guy's deal? The guy in the back, or the guy in the back with the banjo.
Each one of them carries their own burden for the Lord.
All right, here's what else you've done to me. Every time I hear a story about Trump's coronavirus advisor, I hear in my head, Scott Atlas, quack specialist.
Yes, right. Of course.
Yes, Dr. Scott Atlas has encouraged an insurrection against Governor Whitmer over Michigan's new COVID-19 safety protocols meant to curb the state's skyrocketing infection rates. She has halted in-person learning for high schools and colleges, indoor dining, theaters, stadiums, organized sports, casinos, and group exercise classes. Scott Atlas, quack specialist, tweeted, "The only way this stops is if people rise up. You get what you accept. Hashtag freedom matters. Hashtag step up." And then he tried to take that back. Did he do takesy backsies?
Takesy
because
backsies.
She was the plot of the the plot to execute her, and so maybe that was and that's his head coronavirus guy.
There's a lot of takesies backsies in this administration.
He's a radiologist, right? Is that his quack specialty?
Yeah. Well, all right. So Scott Atlas is a specialist in stroke medicine, especially the imaging machines on strokes, and that is why they have had him hanging around Trump since January. All this other stuff about him being Fox friendly and him being added to the task force has nothing to do with this. It is all a mask for there to be a reason why a stroke doctor is within 10 feet of Trump at all times right now. This is like stuff from the Kremlin.
Someone on CNN yesterday said, he's just a libertarian who happens to be a doctor.
Yeah.
He's more of a libertarian than a doctor. That's why he's in there.
Oh, and then this from Trump that everyone gets the vaccine, of course, except New York. Because what?
As soon as April, the vaccine will be available to the entire general population, with the exception of places like New York State, where, for political reasons, the governor decided to say, and I don't think it's good politically. I think it's very bad from a health standpoint, but he wants to take his time on the vaccine. He doesn't trust where the vaccine's coming from. These are coming from the greatest companies anywhere in the world, greatest labs in the world. But he doesn't trust the fact that it's this White House, this administration. So we won't be delivering it to New York until we have authorization to do so. And that pains me to say that.
Shut the actual up, Donnie. Okay, so Joe Biden, first of all, we will finally have a president that is president of everybody, all the states, and wants to help all the states equally. Cuomo snapped back. He said, first of all, luckily Trump won't be here in April to manipulate vaccine distribution. He said, what the president just said is untrue. Here are the facts. We trust the drug companies. Pfizer is a great New York company, by the way. He said, what Americans don't trust is President Trump. Every poll has shown that over half of the American people are afraid the vaccine approval process was politicized to serve Trump during his campaign. Cuomo said a number of states, including New York, have set up panels of scientists to review the FDA's approval of any vaccine to give people confidence in the approval process, to establish the credibility they don't have in President Trump. There will be no delay, adding the review process would be simultaneous and would not involve retesting. The pettiness and vindictiveness is just, I can't take it anymore. I can't take another minute. Yes?
The review process will be finished before the drug would reach a single human being. So the delay aspect of what he's talking about, and by the way, only delay that's going to come from ubiquitous use of this, or like Moderna's just came out as supposedly 98% effective. obviously that makes Russia mad. So expect this afternoon for Russia to say, no, ours was 99. Did we say 92? Yeah. We went to 99. We were burning all the people who in the placebo group on the top of the Russian building yesterday. Did you see that?
No.
The giant fire on the top of basically the Russian Capitol building was on fire. That's where I was like, no, what they said was, you burn the evidence in the dumpster, you throw the witnesses off the roof.
I got the mixed up.
Who's in charge of this nonsense? Rudy Giuliani? We can't do even this, man.
Can I tell you what I'm excited about is Ron Klain, who was the Ebola czar, right? Right. And cleaned up after the last financial mess. So here's just him talking about COVID yesterday.
Well, the president-elect had a conversation with Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer on Friday, and they talked about the need to get urgent action. I mean, we need action during the lame duck. There's a lot of things that are going to have to wait until Joe Biden is president, but this is not one of them. Getting help to people, getting help to state and local governments. I mean, it's not. We need urgent help to individuals, but we're going to see layoffs of police, of firefighters, of teachers in the next month in a lot of states and localities unless these local governments get the aid they need.
Yes, there's that. And the head of Trump's COVID vaccine project is awaiting Trump's approval to interact with Joe Biden's health team for a smooth transition that could save thousands of lives. He said, I hope nothing interferes. It's a matter of life and death for thousands of people. I mean, how part of it is comedians. We focus on how hilarious and pathetic this whole thing is and how in denial he is. But in the height of this pandemic, this is going to cost untold amounts of lives, this ridiculous tantrum that we're still living through, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is, and it's going to be largely, if almost exclusively, Trump supporters.
Yeah,
that's the amazing part of it, is that his vindictive nature and his pettiness is only going to ultimately affect his people.
Yeah,
and that's I mean, it's grotesque, and he never liked them to begin with, and it was always a mockery of whatever friendship, support, acolytes, whatever character you want to attribute to his followers at their best and worst. He's always had a horrible disdain for them.
Yep. The only medicine to get through this transition until January 20th is Hal Sparks in Sexy Liberal. Go to sexyliberal.com. The tour section. The only thing is the brilliance of Hal Sparks. Can I tell you something where I draw the line at exploiting you for your talent for my own benefit? Is every time I talk about you, somebody posts a picture of your naked picture from Queer as Folk with your spectacular butt. And I always feel weird. I don't retweet it or like it because I'm like, you can't exploit him like that. That's my job.
That's right. It's just jealousy. Right.
I'm like, don't.
It is one of the great untapped resources. I agree. No pun intended.
I feel weird. I never retweet. I'm like, that's just exploiting him. Don't do that. Don't just a screenshot of one scene. Don't do that to him.
We're all in a hustle economy now.
Yeah.
I honestly feel, so I don't.
Super cute ass. Is that exploiting you by telling you have a super cute ass? I mean, it's super cute. It's
not
really,
at all.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, it's adorable.
Okay.
And still.
See, we agree.
All right. See, and we're in agreement again.